Welcome to my channel Sci-Fi Love Story. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. The planet Xylaris glimmered under the light of twin suns, a world of jagged rocks and vast, empty plains. Its sky was a strange shade of violet, streaked with floating clouds of shimmering gas. At the center of this forbidding land stood the palace of the alien queen, a towering structure of crystal-like spires and dark metallic walls that pulsed faintly with energy. The palace was legendary across the galaxies, a place no human had ever dared to enter, and those who did never returned. Yet today, one human walked through its massive gates, shoulders straight, chest proud, and a calm smile on his face. Inside the palace, silence reigned. Guards made of shimmering metal and living alloys watched from the high walls. Every eye in the palace seemed to turn toward the intruder, but the human did not falter. He walked as though he owned the place, his boots clanging softly against the alien stone floors. At the very top of the palace, a throne of black crystal awaited the one being all feared, the alien queen. She was unlike any creature humans had ever imagined. Towering, with silver skin that reflected light like liquid metal, eyes the color of molten gold, and a presence so intense that it could crush the will of the bravest warrior. Her reputation was terrifying. She had defeated entire armies alone, sent fleets fleeing, and had never once been challenged successfully. The queen noticed the human immediately. Her eyes narrowed. "Fear me, human," she roared, her voice echoing across the palace halls. Sparks of energy danced around her fingertips, lighting the room with dangerous brilliance. Every muscle in her body radiated power. Every guard, every servant, felt the weight of her command. But instead of trembling, the human laughed. A calm, low laugh that rolled through the throne room, bouncing off walls and strange machinery. The queen stopped in mid-motion. Guards tensed, ready to strike, but none dared move without her command. "Who dares mock me?" she demanded, her voice now edged with both anger and curiosity. The human stepped forward, his gaze steady. "After my ex-wife," he said, smiling faintly, "you're adorable." The queen froze. A long pause stretched between them. "Then, what?" she hissed, fury flashing in her golden eyes. He shrugged, a playful smirk on his face. "I'm not here to fight, unless you want to try." The queen's fury grew, a deep, dark storm of anger. No being had ever spoken to her this way, not a king, not a warlord, not even an invader. She felt a strange mix of shock and curiosity. "You are bold, or foolish," she said finally. "I will test you, survive, and I might consider your presence." With a sweeping motion of her hand, the room transformed. Floors shifted, walls rose, and the air hummed with energy. From the shadows, mechanical beasts emerged, their claws glinting under the violet sky visible through the palace roof. Walls of fire shot up, twisting and turning as if alive. Energy blades spun in midair, sharp and unpredictable. This was the queen's test, the trial no human had ever survived. The human's heart raced, but he smiled. He was not strong like the queen, not fast like her guards, but he had human ingenuity. He dodged the first wave of fire by rolling under a collapsing platform. A spinning energy blade swooped toward him, and he leapt onto a support beam, using it as a springboard to launch himself past the next trap. The mechanical beasts lunged at him, claws swiping. He ducked, rolled, and even tricked one into smashing another, laughing as the clanking echoes filled the palace. Each movement showed not just skill but wit, an ability to see patterns, to improvise, to survive. From her throne, the queen watched, her golden eyes narrowing. Fury mixed with fascination. How could this human, so small, so seemingly fragile, move with such speed and precision? How could he anticipate her traps? Her anger began to twist into something unexpected, curiosity. The human finally found a moment of respite, crouching behind a massive pillar as the energy waves subsided. His chest heaved, sweat glistening on his brow, but his eyes sparkled with mischief. "Not bad," he muttered to himself. "Could be worse." The queen rose from her throne, her silver form gleaming. "You dare escape from me?" she demanded, her voice calm now but carrying the weight of centuries of power. "I didn't escape," he said with a grin. "I'm just stretching the game a bit." Her lips curved in the slightest of smiles, a dangerous, almost invisible movement. "You amuse me," she admitted, a first for anyone in the palace. "But do not think this changes anything. Survive, and you may yet leave here, alive." The human's eyes twinkled. "Alive is good. I like alive." And then, as suddenly as it began, the test ended. He had navigated every trap, every beast, and every firewall. But he did not flee the palace entirely. He slipped into the shadows, moving silently through hidden corridors that even the Queen's guards had never mapped. The Queen's guards charged, energy weapons ready, but the human was gone, already disappearing into the labyrinth of the palace. The Queen's fury boiled, yet a spark of admiration burned in her chest. She whispered to herself, "Who is this human? How is he so fearless?" In the quiet of the palace corridors, the human moved carefully. Each step was deliberate, each breath controlled. He knew the Queen would not simply let him leave. It was not in her nature. And yet, he felt excitement, a thrill unlike any he had known. As he turned a corner, he paused. The walls around him pulsed faintly, the palace alive with an intelligence of its own. It seemed to sense him, to test him further, yet he smiled. Human creativity, he thought, was a weapon no AI or alien technology could match. Back in the throne room, the Queen sat silently, watching the patterns of the traps he had navigated. Each trap had been designed with precision to end a life instantly. Yet here was a human, not only surviving but outsmarting them. She felt something strange stirring within her, a mix of anger, admiration, and intrigue. Perhaps, she whispered, almost to herself, this human is unlike any other. The human, meanwhile, paused in a high corridor overlooking the throne room. He looked down at the Queen, who was sitting like a statue of silver and gold, radiating danger. And for the first time, he sensed her curiosity. It was dangerous, yes, but also promising. He smirked and whispered under his breath, "I think she likes me." The Queen's guards reported back, their voices a mix of fear and confusion. "Your Highness, he is gone, disappeared." Gone, yes, but not defeated. The human had survived the impossible, outwitted the strongest being in the palace, and lived to tell the tale. Yet even he knew this was only the beginning. The Queen's curiosity had been piqued. Her interest was no longer just about power, it was about this human, this anomaly who dared laugh in the face of death. Somewhere deep in the palace, in rooms filled with strange energy, the Queen muttered, "I must know him, fully. I must see what makes him tick." And so, the game had begun. A dangerous, thrilling, and utterly unpredictable game between the fearsome alien Queen and the cunning human who laughed at her fury. As the sun set over Xylaris, casting long shadows across jagged rocks and the glowing palace spires, both the Queen and the human felt a strange sense of anticipation. Something was coming, a test not of fire or machines, but of wit, courage, and perhaps, something deeper. The palace remained alive, humming with energy and secrets. The human crouched in the shadows, planning his next move, aware that each step brought him closer to either legend or death. And the Queen, seated on her throne, watched and waited, for the first time in centuries intrigued by the one human who refused to fear her. The twin suns of Xylaris dipped lower, casting long shadows across the alien palace. Inside, the corridors seemed to hum with anticipation. The human crouched in the shadows, breathing evenly, watching the palace guards search for him. Every step he had taken so far had been measured, every movement calculated, yet he knew, the real challenge had only just begun. The alien Queen was no ordinary foe. She had fire in her eyes, power in her every movement, and centuries of wisdom. But curiosity, it seemed, had a strange way of softening even the sharpest edges. As he moved through the palace's labyrinthine corridors, the human could feel it, the Queen was watching. Every trap he had dodged, every guard he had outsmarted, had only made her more intrigued. Finally, he paused in a hidden observation chamber, overlooking the throne room. The Queen sat on her black crystal throne, arms crossed, radiating a calm that masked her simmering curiosity. He whispered under his breath, a smirk forming, "She's thinking, and I like it." Unexpected alliance. Suddenly, a soft hum resonated through the palace. A warning light flashed. External forces were approaching. The palace shook as rogue invaders from a neighboring star system breached the outer defenses. The human's eyes widened, but he didn't panic. The Queen rose instantly, her silver form glowing with deadly energy. "Intruders! Defend the palace!" she roared. Her guards scrambled, energy weapons igniting with lethal precision. But even their combined strength was insufficient against the invaders' advanced technology. Mechanical drones with plasma cannons, heavily armored walkers, and strange energy beasts poured into the palace. The halls became chaos incarnate. From his hidden vantage, the human observed the fight. He knew he could not simply hide. Survival meant action, and humans had a skill many aliens underestimated: creativity under pressure. He ran toward a side corridor, gathering makeshift tools and scavenging alien tech. Using small gadgets, he interfered with the invaders' weapons, causing explosions and misfires. Guards stared in amazement. How? One whispered. The Queen's golden eyes found him. For the first time, her fury was tempered by admiration. You dare help? She demanded, her voice sharp but tinged with intrigue. The human grinned. Don't worry, I'm on your side, mostly. Together, they moved through the palace, an unlikely team. The Queen unleashed energy blasts and summoned beasts to fight the invaders, while the humans set traps, sabotaged drones, and even tricked the enemy into turning their weapons against each other. It was a battle of strength and wit. The Queen's raw power was unmatched, but the human's mind was unpredictable. Where she expected strategy, he threw chaos. Where she anticipated defense, he created surprise attacks. For the first time, the Queen realized something she had never known. Strength alone does not win battles. Cleverness, courage, and adaptability could triumph where brute force failed. The human's boldness. After hours of fighting, the invaders began to retreat. The palace lay in partial ruin, corridors smoldering, walls scarred by energy blasts. Guards were exhausted but alive. The Queen stood atop a high balcony, surveying the aftermath. The human approached, hands raised in mock surrender. Not bad, right? He said, grinning. The Queen's lips curved in the faintest smile. You are unlike any human I have ever known, she admitted. Most would have fled in terror. Most would have died trying to mock me. Yet you survive. He shrugged, still smiling. Guess I have a knack for it. Or maybe, I just like a challenge. She laughed softly, a melodic sound that echoed across the broken palace. You are bold, foolish, and strangely entertaining. I cannot decide if I should punish you or reward you. He tilted his head, cocky but respectful. I'll take reward, preferably before the next fight. The Queen's golden eyes narrowed, studying him. Perhaps, I will allow you to stay, for now. But do not think this makes you my equal. You have survived today, yes, but you are still human. He smirked. After my ex-wife, you're adorable. Her laugh rang out, bright and unexpected. The palace seemed to tremble, not from anger, but amusement. A moment of respect later, as the sun dipped fully below Xylaris' horizon, the human and the Queen stood alone in the throne room. The battle had ended, but something unspoken lingered in the air. You are curious, the Queen said quietly. Curiosity is dangerous, but it seems I cannot resist it. I like to know what I'm up against, the human replied. Keeps life interesting. For the first time, the Queen did not feel fear, of him or anything else. Instead, she felt respect. Not the respect demanded by force, but the respect earned through courage, wit, and the refusal to submit. You are unusual, she said. Few have ever faced me and laughed. Even fewer survive. I'm still here, he said simply, so I guess that counts for something. She studied him, her golden eyes reflecting both amusement and something deeper, perhaps admiration, perhaps intrigue. Very well, she said finally. You may stay, for now. But remember, human, your path is not safe. Every choice brings danger, and every action has consequences. He smiled, unabashed. Danger is kind of my thing. Keeps life exciting. A shared victory. In the days following the attack, the human moved through the palace freely. Guards still watched him cautiously, but none interfered. He repaired minor damages, assisted with defense strategies, and even helped the Queen study the invaders' technology. The Queen, initially skeptical, began to see his value. Not just his cleverness, but his spirit. No alien had ever dared laugh in her presence, outwit her guards, or survive her traps. And yet, here he was, not a servant, not as a subject, but as an equal in resourcefulness. At night, the Queen watched him from her balcony. He sat quietly, tinkering with alien gadgets, humming a strange human tune. She felt a strange warmth, one she had not felt in centuries. Perhaps it was respect, or maybe, something more. You amuse me, she whispered softly, though he could not hear. And I do not yet know why. A humorous ending. The next morning, the human approached her, bowing dramatically. Your Highness, may I suggest breakfast? I promise it's much safer than fighting invaders. The Queen regarded him with mock seriousness. You are audacious. Do you ever take anything seriously? Sometimes, he said with a grin. But usually, not enough to die over. She shook her head, a faint smile playing on her lips. After my centuries of power, I never thought I would meet a human who could make me laugh and respect him at the same time. You are truly remarkable. He bowed again, winking. After my ex-wife, you're adorable. Her laughter rang out, echoing across the palace halls, a sound that had not been heard for centuries. The human had survived. He had outsmarted the strongest being in the galaxy. And more than that, he had earned her curiosity, respect, and maybe even friendship. The palace was still a place of danger, still a place of power, but now, in the heart of Xylaris, a human had left his mark. Not with strength, not with weapons, but with courage, wit, and laughter. As the twin suns rose the next day, the human stood on a balcony, looking out over the alien world. The queen appeared beside him, silently observing. No words were needed. Both understood the truth. A new legend had begun, one that would be whispered across galaxies for centuries.